Welcome to all students and learners. This is session 2 on materials topic cost accounting. This topic on materials is applicable to courses BCom, BBA, MCom, MBA. Those who are pursuing professional courses like CA, ICWA, CS can also make use of this presentation to learn basics on materials management. So far, in the session 1, we learned what is materials, meaning and definitions, classification of materials. Then later we have started learning techniques of materials management. In the techniques, we covered so far ABC analysis, VED analysis, and other analysis that we have. Now today we start learning from the stores ledger. Apart from stores ledger, we also cover purchase procedures, economic order quantity, and stock levels, which includes minimum stock level, maximum stock level, and so on. Let us start with the very first one, storage of materials or stores records, in which bin card is already covered in the session 1. Now let us start with the second document or record called stores ledger. The stores ledger is maintained by cost accountant, whereas the bin card is not maintained by storekeeper. Means store ledger is part and parcel of accounting system, whereas bin card is part and parcel of inventory department or warehouse department. Stores ledger records all receipts, issue, and the difference between receipts and issue is balance. Balance is also recorded in the stores ledger. Apart from maintaining receipts, issue, and balance, in all these three categories, reference number is also maintained along with the date. But this reference number is written in few organizations where organization size is big and the maintenance of record for every transaction is there, such as large size companies used to maintain record for every movement or for every activity in the business. In the case of receipts, there may be a document, but in the case of issue and balance also, if the record is maintained, for that record a number will be affixed and that number is shown in the reference column. An important thing about stores ledger is not only maintaining the quantity but also maintaining the amount column. Means quantity received, unit rate per unit, and amount is mentioned in all the three categories called receipts, issues, and balance. So minimum columns for each category are quantity, rate per unit and amount. If the organization maintains the reference number, then for each category we see 4 columns as shown in the presentation. In this slide it is model stores ledger is presented for your reference. Before we move further, let us see difference between bin card and stores ledger. Bin card records only quantity of materials received and issued, of course, balance too. Means only quantity is recorded. To know the stock level, to know how much stock is there, it is useful when it is maintained. When this bin card maintains stock quantity. In the case of stores ledger, it records both quantity as well as amount. In the previous slide, in the pro forma stores ledger, it is shown like 3 columns, minimum 3 columns are maintained in the stores ledger. Quantity, which is also there in the bin card, but other 2 columns like unit rate, at the same time amount, are also recorded in the stores ledger. Means the quantitative aspects and the monetary aspects both are available in the stores ledger. That is a major difference between the bin card and stores ledger. And who maintains these 2 records? Bin card is maintained by storekeeper, who is part of in the purchase department, or you say warehouse department or godown department. In the case of stores ledger, it is maintained by cost accountant, part of accounting department. Though both related to the records of stock material, these 2 are maintained by 2 different departments and 2 different persons. Posting in bin card is done normally before or at the time of the transaction. Means before arrival of the stock or at the time of arrival of the stock to the godown, to the warehouse, the bin card is maintained by storekeeper. On the other side, store ledger is recorded after the transaction. Means once the receiving of goods is over, then recording of stores ledger happens. Similarly, once the issue of material from the warehouse to production department is completed, then recording starts. Any accounting record nature is similar to that of the stores ledger. Means once the transaction is completed, then recording work starts. So the same principle is also applicable to stores ledger, because it is also part of accounting record. Bin card is used to control the physical material or physical check. Means quantity is checked by going through physical verification of the stock available in the godown. In the case of stores ledger, it helps in checking the quantity as well as amount in 3 forms. How much received, where we can verify both quantity as well as amount. How much issued in terms of quantity and amount, that we can check. Similarly, it is also possible to know what is the leftover stock, that is balance stock, on a particular date, including quantity and value. Dear students, let us move to the next technique called purchase procedures. Mere verification or computing some values and controlling them is not enough. Following a systematic procedure also helps in controlling the costs, and the same principle is also applicable to materials. When you have a proper procedure of purchase, then it is also possible to have control the costs in terms of decreasing the ordering cost or decreasing the holding cost or minimizing the wastage and minimizing the unnecessary investment on the materials, etc. So for that, in the process of controlling the material cost, purchase procedure is an important aspect to be followed by every business house. So here the following points listed are very much useful to follow the systematic procedure during the purchase. First step is purchase requisition. All the departments used to send their proposal are in the form of a predefined format to the purchase department as far as their requirements for the next month or for quarter or year based on the line they follow in the organization. Say for example, per month, all the departments on a particular date used to send their requisition mentioning serial number, quantity and standards such as size, color, etc. And all these requisitions are sent to purchase department. In turn, purchase department used to compile all these requisitions and prepare a common document to be purchased. Selection of suppliers. So who are the suppliers ready to supply the material that is required to the organization? That is verified through various sources, and out of all the suppliers, couple of suppliers or single supplier is selected to supply the material that is required. Selection of suppliers depends on timely supply, quality, price, etc. After going through all these, purchase department used to decide to whom we have to send our purchase requirements. Next one is placing the order, which is also called purchase order. Once the supplier selection is over, to that specified supplier, purchase order is prepared and sent, mentioning quantity, time for delivery, and other specifications of the material that we have to purchase. Immediately after this, the next process called receipt of material means the supplier, after going through the purchase order, will send in proper package through proper container to our warehouse or godown, and that material we have to receive. Mere receiving is not enough. In the purchase procedure, important step after receiving the material is inspection of the material. Along with the document, cross verification is required. Invoice received along with the material consists of information like quantity, unit price, sizes, number of units sent, etc. And all these to be cross verified in the process of inspection. In the inspection, if damaged goods are found, unspecified goods are received, or any other problem arises, then immediate step is to be followed is return to suppliers. Means goods received are inspected. If they are not up to the mark as per our requirement, then they are returned to the supplier again. This may not happen on regular basis because of human error, or in few cases the return of goods may happen. Next, approval of invoice and payment. Once the inspection is over, if returns are there, returns process is also completed. Then next step is to approve the invoice received from the supplier and take steps to payment. For the goods received, amount is to be paid. Next, valuation of materials purchased. Mere paying is not the end stage of the purchase procedure. Next step of payment to supplier is valuation of materials. How to value? The quantity or the price and the value mentioned in the invoice is not considered as the value, but further investigation is to be done by considering quantity discount given by supplier. What is the discount in terms of quantity? Example, if you buy 10 cartons of some X product, 11th carton is free, means buy 10 get 1. But 11th one is free. That free quantity is mentioned in the invoice, but it is not part of the total amount. So while the valuing, number of units are more and the value is mentioned only for certain units. So where valuation value changes. Similarly, trade discount, which is given at the time of purchase, not mentioned in the document. Cash discount, which is given at the time of payment of dues. Taxes, transport charges, cost of containers, all these are to be considered, and find out the value of materials purchased, because this value is very much useful to the producer, as the material is 50% contribution in the production of goods and services. The next and very important technique in the materials management is economic order quantity, popularly known as EOQ, economic order quantity. This is the quantity to be ordered whenever material to be purchased. Every time material required we purchase, but what is the quantity to be purchased? That is a question mark. So to overcome that question mark, EOQ is computed, and every time we require material, that quantity is only ordered. Why? Because of two reasons. To decrease the order cost and to control the holding cost, this economic order quantity is placed, so that economies in the buying will happen. In turn, cost of the goods will come down. The buyer is saved the task of recalculating how much should we buy each time he orders. It is the size of the order which gives maximum economy in purchasing any material and ultimately contribute towards maintaining the material at the optimum level and at the minimum cost. So this is the advantage of material ordering with the help of EOQ. And EOQ calculation is very simple with the following formula. EOQ is equal to 2AB by CS under root. Let us go for notations. EOQ, economic order quantity. A, annual consumption, which is also known as demand, means consumed material during the last year is the demand for the next year. So either you write annual consumption or D for demand. B is buying or ordering cost. When you buy the goods, when you buy the material, for every order you have to incur some cost. That cost is called buying cost or ordering cost. C, cost per unit of material, that is price of the individual unit. And similarly, S is also there, storage and carrying cost, which is also known as holding cost, which is always calculated on percentage of the cost. So this same equation can be written in other form. Alternatively, EOQ is equal to 2AB by S. Instead of CS, only S. S is storage cost per unit per annum. Means when you take the holding cost per unit per annum, then also you can compute EOQ. So most popular way of computing EOQ is alternative model only. Instead of C and S taken, we take only S, which is storage cost or holding cost per unit per annum. Now computation of this is very easy, and for better understanding and to have ease, we'll go through couple of short answer questions in the session 3. Now let us focus our presentation on stock levels, which is the last technique of materials management and important technique amongst all. To ensure that no overstocking and understocking, the stock levels are maintained. Overstocking is also a burden. Understocking also creates problem of stopping or holding the production process. Not to have these situations, proper stock levels are maintained. Let us go through the stock levels that are to be maintained in every production unit. Maximum level. It is a level above which stock should not normally be allowed to rise. Means once based on the formula a figure will be arrived, that arrived figure is maximum level of stock to be maintained. Above that level we should not maintain the stock to avoid the overstocking. And the simple formula is maximum stock level is equal to reorder level plus reorder quantity minus minimum consumption into minimum reorder period. With this simple formula we can find out maximum level of the stock. Opposite to this we have minimum stock level. It is a level which stock should not normally be allowed to fall. Means below this level, if the stock is falling in our godown or warehouse, then it's a danger signal. Means this may influence negatively on the production process or holding the production process or stoppage of the production process. So when this level is maintained, it's alarming. This is computed with minimum stock level is equal to reorder level minus normal consumption into normal order period. Very simple formula to compute minimum stock level. Next one is reorder level. It is a level that purchase requisition is made out. It is above minimum level but below the maximum level. For better understanding of this, let us take notional values of maximum level and minimum level. Maximum level arrived is 2000 units. Minimum level arrived is 500 units. And reorder level is to be computed based on these two minimum and maximum levels keeping in mind. Reorder level is that above 500 units means above minimum level but below the maximum level, that is 2000 units. If we maintain like this, falling below the minimum level or maintaining the overstock above the maximum level will not happen in the materials management system, stock level system. It is computed with reorder level is equal to maximum consumption into maximum reorder period. Next one is danger level, at which normal issue of materials are stopped. Means this is also one level of stock which is not only giving alarm but also stops the supply of material from go down to the production units. It is computed with average or normal consumption into minimum reorder period for emergency purchases. And last and final one is average stock level. Generally it is computed with either option A or option B based on the availability of information. Average stock level is equal to minimum stock level plus maximum stock level by 2. Alternative method is average stock level is equal to minimum level plus 1 by 2 of reorder quantity. With this we can compute average stock level. Dear students, before we go and start the session 3, learning how to calculate economic order quantity and stock levels, covering short answer questions and long answer questions, let us focus on another simple aspect and very important aspect for better understanding of materials is material losses. Material losses are of two kinds: normal loss and abnormal loss. Normal losses generally incurred in the process which is unavoidable. Means in the process of managing the materials it happens, which cannot be avoided. But there is a possibility of minimizing the loss. So which is unavoidable but which can be controlled is what? Normal loss. Under which conditions this normal loss happens? The following are the 3 repetitive kind of situations which are giving normal losses to the materials department. Loss by evaporation in case of liquid materials such as fuel, petrol and diesel, etc. Loss due to breaking the bulk material such as coal, etc. available in bulk, but it is break it down into small pieces during the process of making it small pieces. You will have some scrap, and which cannot be used for any other purpose, it becomes loss. Third one is loss due to loading and unloading of materials. It is a self-explanatory point, need not discuss much about the loading and unloading process and losses. Similar to normal loss, you have abnormal loss in the materials, which arises due to inefficiency of operations or mischief nature of human being, or sometimes bad luck. Means much part of the abnormal loss is due to human error in the form of poor management of operations or mischief nature of human being. Sometimes abnormal loss may happen because of natural calamity or some other problem in the form of bad luck or unexpected things. Examples: theft and pilferage, breakage, fire accident, floods, usage of inaccurate weighing instruments, improper storage of materials, etc. All these again categorized into 2 parts. Some of them are human errors nature and some of them are bad luck or calamities. For every problem there is a possible solution. Similarly, for material losses also, controlling mechanism can be followed. with the help of the following procedures or precautions. Proper conditions should be provided. What are conditions? Based on the nature of the production, based on the nature of material that we are using, proper conditions to be established. Maybe fire extinguisher, or if the product nature is evaporative one, appropriate equipment. If the material is related to confectionery, again there also you need proper conditions. Conditions can be temperature like below 10 degrees or above 40 degrees are required to certain products or materials which we have to provide, so that you can minimize the loss due to the nature of the product. The storeroom should be well guarded and protected to avoid the risk of theft and fire. So proper wiring and fencing etc. are required to avoid the problem of theft and fire. In order to reduce the losses due to obsolescence, that is outdatedness, material should be issued on FIFO basis. If the goods are outdatedness in nature, means because of the time passage, the life of the asset also or life of the material also come to close. In that case, after receiving the goods and stored in the godown, same material are issued to production department, but advice here mentioned is FIFO method, first in first out. Material first received and stored in the godown should be issued first to the production department to overcome the problem of obsolescence nature of raw material. Like all perishables, vegetables, fruits and some medicines etc. Accuracy of weighing instruments should be periodically checked. Avoid unauthorized movement of stores. Unauthorized movement is unnecessarily moving the goods from one place to the other place. In the process of moving the goods from one place to the other place also creates lot of problem in the form of damage, in the form of leakage, in the form of wastage etc. And finally, specified material handling equipment should be employed while moving the goods from one place to the other place. While storing the goods in appropriate places, you need proper equipment. Improper equipment usage leads to damage. So if the proper equipment is used, then also you can control the losses arising out of material losses, either in the form of normal loss or abnormal loss. As there is a chance to control both, these are the important points to be kept in mind to control the losses. Yes, dear students, this is session 2 on materials, cost accounting subject. Hope this presentation enables you to understand the importance of material and understanding various techniques which helps to control the cost in terms of materials. Materials contributes almost 50% of finished goods. That is the reason various techniques that we are studying must be understood, and practically we have to learn how to calculate them and control. In the next class, in session 3 of materials, we are going to cover illustrations on economic order quantity and illustrations on stock levels, covering short answer questions and long answer questions. Thank you one and all.